Breaking news on the conflicts from the front line in Arstotzka. Kolechian freedom fighters have once again bombed the checkpoint where literally hundreds, only 100 immigrants are trying to cross the border into Arstotzka for political refuge. Increasing checkpoint checkpoint stipulations prevent many from getting ease of access to either immigrate or transport across Arstotzka. Arstotzkan Prime Minister has yet to be Arstotzkan Prime Minister Talium Dabenko has yet to comment on the rising levels of violence at the one and only checkpoint at the border between Arstotzka and apparently the entire world. Tensions continue to mount politically and geopolitically, if there really is a difference. Here at Hey, What Do You Know News, we reached out to one such person who was closest to the conflict. One named Boseeleehev. He's a local Arstotzkan man who's actually been through 3 or 4 families working for the Arstotzkan government, regulating people coming through the checkpoint. So live now via telephonic isolated satellite graph is the man himself, Boseeleehev. Boseeleehev, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Glad to be here. I am Boseeleehev, checkpoint guard of Arstotzkan checkpoint between us, the Kolechian freedom fighters, and literally the rest of the entire world.
You seem to be at the forefront of all this violence. What do you have to say about that? Any particular comments you'd like to make towards the rest of the world? What do you know news, or perhaps even your prime minister?
Oh, no. You misinterpret. Boseeleehev is happy to serve glorious working class of Arstotzka. Prime Minister, I have no comment on because he is doing fine job. I have absolutely no problem with way he is running country. I reiterate, literally no problem whatsoever. As for rest of world, I am more than willing to assist you in crossing border into new home of Arstotzka, or perhaps you come to work for time or visit friends or relatives. The important matter of it is that you have papers ready. Papers are most important part of immigration through my booth or anywhere else. You must have papers, and every single thing must match.
We're getting a little bit off topic here, Mr. Boseeleehev. My main question is, what is your thoughts on all the violence? Why is it so violent there at the checkpoint, at the booth, at your booth in particular? I mean, well, quite literally, yours is the only checkpoint, the only one. So there's literally hundreds and hundreds of people in that line every single day. What do you have to say about all the violence? Do you have any call to peace? Do you have any sort of statement to make as the one and only contact for several hundreds of people every per day?
Look, I have no statement to make. It is very difficult. Tensions are very high because many people coming into Arstotzka do not realize the troubles we've had before accepting them into our wonderful, glorious, prosperous society. We had age of 2 potato, where every family, every person could have upwards of 2 potato in house. Now, due to political conflict, political sanctions from all over the world, we now only have 1 potato per several people. Not all family has 1 potato. I myself am on 4th family. Several wives have died of medical problems, sons have died of hunger, uncles of many...
What exactly do you mean by that, Mr. Yevchenko? 4th wife? I don't really understand.
In glorious working class of Arstotzka, every worker under the regime or holding work permit like myself is entitled to working family and place of shelter. To a very bare minimum standard. So my original family, who I created with my wife, died a long time ago. It's been about 2 years now. Yes. It's not so bad. It's really not all that bad. What is bad, though, is like reading all those papers, just checking every single detail, having to take pictures of peepees and pachinkos.
What do you mean take pictures of? Do you mean that at certain times of day, people may be asked or perhaps even forced to shed their clothing and have you take pictures of them?
Is unfortunate circumstance of job, yes. Due to violence from Kolechian freedom fighters, yes, sometimes it is required to have person or persons shed clothing and take picture behind a thick curtain so that we can verify if boy is actually boy, if girl is actually girl, or if someone is carrying some kind of contraband like bombs or medicine for sick people apparently, or for, you know, several different reasons. Yes, it is all very complex.
Shocking, to say the least, Mr. Yevchenko. Do you have anything else to say to the world? With their eye, I mean, the world's eye is almost literally entirely on Arstotzka and all of the conflict taking place there. Do you have anything to say? Do you have any comment to make to the rest of the world? I know you previously said something, but in regards to just this stretch of time of violence and stringent checkpoint requirements. Do you have anything to say as a person, as an individual?
That is what I'm, yes, thank you. What was your name anyway?
Me? Oh, I'm Chad Punchbeef of Whatdya No News.
Yes, Mr. Punchbeef. That is critical difference between your society and mine. Is that, one, is Arstotzka does not endorse the individual. You are part of something. You are part of greater party. If you are not with that party, then you must be against it. Secondly, we have a very strict way of living. There are many of us here. And most of you do not understand that we do not want to vilify ourselves or anyone else. We're just trying to get by like the rest of you. And third, we have a almost religious understanding of papers and documents. And if you do not have those papers and documents in place, that's very, very upsetting. It's very out of the normal. And that's why the stringent checkpoint regulations is the rapid changing of requirements requires people to pay attention, to how do you say, get with program. And if they do not, then that is our way of regulating incoming immigrants, is by rapidly changing requirements so that people can follow rules more easily, rather than just allowing millions and millions of people into Arstotzka and, you know, bugging, as you say, bugging down our already strained economy. We just change stuff a lot. It's pretty fun.
Well, I'm not one to cast judgment, that's the Lord's work, but I am one to say that is some of the craziest shit I've ever heard. Arstotzka must really be a magical and wonderful place to have such diligent and poignant people such as you, Mr. Yevchenko. Thank you for joining me, I really appreciate it. Just remember to keep your eye on the news, because I'm Chad Punchbeef, and this is Whatdya No News. You have an excellent rest of your day, Mr. Yevchenko.
Yes, and you as well. Thank you for having me, Mr. Punchbeef. Glory to Arstotzka.